Hi, my name is Brunella Martinelli de Medeiros, Fiuza. I'm a P2-year student at Gatton College of Pharmacy. Hola, me llamo Brunella. Yo soy estudiante de segundo año en el College de Farmacia at Gatton in ETSU. I'm from Brazil. My city name is Vitoria in the state of Espirito Santo. It's a beautiful tiny island just close to the coast. In Brazil, southeast of Brazil, and it's a beautiful place to live. I lived in Brazil most of my life, and I did my bachelor's degree in pharmacy in Brazil. I graduated there, and I worked as a community pharmacist and also in a compounding pharmacy for about 7 to 8 years in total. And after a while, my family and I decided to move to the US because my husband wanted to pursue the doctorate here in the US. So we moved here, my husband and our son and me. After I moved here, I started learning English first. And then because my husband was doing his doctorate in Spanish literature, we ended up meeting a lot of people from Latin America and Spain. They were in the same course as he was. So we ended up meeting a lot of people who had their first language was Spanish. So I started learning Spanish to talk to them. And since they were also teaching Spanish at college level, I asked them if I could sit in their classes to learn some more. And that's how I learned both English and Spanish. So after I learned some Spanish, I asked one of the professors from the Department of Language and Literature if I could sit in his class to learn more about literature. I always loved reading. So, and since I knew Spanish already and English, so I asked if I could sit in his class. And I really enjoyed taking Latin American literature class. And by the end of the course, he asked me if I was interested in applying for the master's in Latin American literature. And I was surprised because I wasn't expecting that. But then I decided to apply. I talked to other professors, and they convinced me to apply, and they thought it would be a good fit because I loved reading, I loved learning about languages and cultures. So I applied for the master's, and then I started my master's and followed with the PhD. So I had a lot of experience teaching Spanish while I was at graduate school. And then when my husband finished his PhD, he got a job here in Johnson City, so we moved here. And right at the beginning, when we moved here, we heard about the Quillen 100. And we went there, and I got to the ETSU Health Fair, where I met some of the med students and pharmacy students. And one of those students were talking to me about how important it is to have people that could speak other languages and know about other cultures, and they could relate to the local community in Tri-Cities, because there are not a lot of healthcare professionals that can speak other languages or understand other cultures. And they said, why don't you come back? Why don't you go to Gatton and pursue your PharmD degree? It would be great to have an extra person fighting with us and representing our community. So after that meeting with those students, I was volunteering as a medical interpreter at ETSU Health Clinics, and I got to meet some of the healthcare professionals. And they also talked to me about Gatton and how great a school is, and is one of the best college of pharmacy schools there is, and we're just right here. We were already living in Johnson City. But because of my pathway for the changing of status, I couldn't apply right away. I had to wait. So in 2023, when we finally got it approved, I came here to talk to Mr. Ellis. and he walked with me through the pathway, all the options I had, because since I was already a pharmacist in Brazil and I already had like my curriculum, some courses and stuff that they already had here. So he just basically walked with me like what I needed to do in order to get my diploma recognized here by the Board of Pharmacy, or the option of coming to Gatton and pursue all the 4 years for the PharmD degree. So he was like above and beyond to walk with me through the path, all the options I had. He laid down like very clearly whatever I needed to do. So I applied for the college in the next year, in 2024. Back in Brazil, I decided to pursue the career as a pharmacist because I love to serve. That was like, it is a calling in my life to serve others. And I thought among all the career pathways, including the love for chemistry and math and serving others, I thought being a pharmacist would be a great fit for me. I love the interaction with patients and getting to know them and getting to walk with them to a better health goal. So that's why I chose pharmacy as a career. So the transition from not being in school and going back to school was a hard one. I was already working since I got my working permit. I went back to teach Spanish at the main campus, and going back to school again was an adaptation. It was a hard one to get back to that routine of study, and sit down in a classroom instead of standing up. It was a big challenge for me, and I'm glad that I found a great group of professors and students that were really supportive. I could find like every support I needed here at Gatton. I had like a great group of friends, and Dr. Williams, who is an exceptional person who helped us a lot with getting organized and getting ready to study, and all the schedule and routines for studying. She's been a great help. And the students here, I feel like, is more like a family, not competitive. It's more like a family. Everybody's helping everybody to get to that goal and get our diplomas. An advice I would give to a non-traditional student to go back to school is to first get your schedule ready and be organized, and try to make sure you have time to study, but also to have time to relax, because it is stressful because you have to study all the time, and sometimes you have other responsibilities like family and kids. And it is hard, I'm not gonna lie. It is challenging, but I would say if you have a great support group, that's been very helpful. That's great. If you have a support group and if you get organized, you can do it. What I hope to do when I graduate is continue to serve my community, especially the Latino community and all the underserved communities around the Tri-Cities area. And I really hope I can be an asset to them, knowing that I can speak more than one language and being able to relate to them as someone like not from here. Maybe this could be what they need, but I just hope I can serve them the best way I can.